Yeah, hi everyone, this is Mahesh. So yesterday we had started with the IDD configuration. So we'll just go through it whatever we have discussed yesterday. So the IDD login screen, like as we discussed that previous, for MDM we have to give like 19 means the IP then :8080/CMX. For going to the IDD configuration screen, we need to give like /bdd/config. So that will take us to the configuration screen of the IDD. So that's basically the URL you have to give /bdd/config. So in this, only an admin user can log in. So you can log in using your ID because everyone is an administrator. Otherwise, you can use this admin or admin as a username and password. So once you come to this screen, first thing that you have to do was adding an application. So we can click on this add application and add a new application. This will create a new blank application, and it also will give the particular URL. So yesterday we had created this application with the name of tk5_ors, and after creating the application we can edit it, and inside this first what we have done is added this database name. So we had to click here on the add and add the database or the ORS on which I want to create an application. And the second thing was HM configuration. If we have already configured the HM, this HM configuration will come here. So we can just select this. If you have not configured it, it will not come. And after that, we had to configure the subject areas, group, subject area, and subject area child. These are three things that we have to configure. So yesterday we had configured the subject area group, which is just a logical grouping which contains all these other things. So subject area child, and subject area grandchild. These are the three things which are logically maintained by this. So yesterday we had created this three. Today we will create one more subject area. So subject area group and subject area has to be created for each and every base object that we have. All the base objects and lookup tables that we have created. For everything we have to create at least these two. And other than that, the subject area child and the grandchild will be depending on the business. If the business want to see other details also, he can say that I want the address also on other tables. So we'll create here, we'll go to the subject area group and again add a subject area group here, where we can say subject area group as address. And select the ORS name, only one ORS name will come here, and the primary table as address. So that's a subject area group which got created, which is again a logical grouping. And then we'll go and add the subject area. So we can give the name as a SA address. And again, because for the address also we have configured HM, so the drop down is coming. If the HM is not configured, it will come as a text box. So we just need to select the entity type, and automatically these columns will get populated, subtype column and the subtype value. And then we'll just click on the change selection and select all the columns here. So here we have to just change the roid object, as we discussed that there is a system column, and whenever you add any column or remove the columns, this roid object always becomes yes. So that's the problem here in the screen. So every time we need to click on this edit layout, which makes that as no basically. So once we do that, required becomes no. So for this, like, we will not make any changes here, whatever match settings or cleanse, because we have already done it for the customer. Here I am just creating it again so that I can show you the difference between the reference and part of. So that's the subject area created for address, and once I click on this, I will be able to add a subject area child. So if you remember, like we discussed, subject area child and subject area grandchild, these two levels can be configured only if you have created a match path. If we have not created a match path, we cannot configure subject area child or the subject area grandchild.
Vinay,
Yes, sure.
can you tell about the cleanse in the subject area group once?
Yes. Yesterday, like for the customer, we'll go back to the customer where we have set up the cleanse. So here, once you come, you will see the library that you have created. So you can select your library, and under the library, you will see all the functions that we have created. So as it's a drop down, we can select only one cleanse function at a time. So once we select a particular function, we can see all the input and the output parameters which are there in my cleanse function. So I just need to pass which columns will be an input, which columns will be the output. So that's why, like we had discussed initially, that we can create like multiple reusable cleanse functions or the graph functions in MDM, but finally for every base object I need one final graph function where I have to include like all the cleanse functions that I have created. Because of that restriction, because of this restriction that IDD can only get a single cleanse function, it cannot use multiple cleanse functions. So that is the reason, even if you have created multiple reusable components, that is fine, because if you think that that's a reusable and you will be using it at multiple places, but finally at the end we have to create for every base object like customer address, one final graph function has to be created, which includes like changes for all the columns. So this will have an impact. This is just a basic function that we had created previously, where we are passing first name, middle name, and last name, and it is making everything in uppercase and also adding them into the display name column. So this we will be able to see when we go to the application side, and when we enter something, it will convert that into uppercase.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Vinay.
Okay. Yeah. And similarly, once we go back to the address subject area, and then we will get this option of add subject area children. So here again we will be getting the child type. So child type, as we discussed, logical one-to-one, one-to-many, and part of primary object. These are used when you have one-to-one or one-to-many relationship between two base objects, and when you have and when you have like many-to-many relationship between two tables, you will always select either part of and reference. So for the customer and address, we had selected part of. This time we will select reference, so that we can see the differences for both of them. And match path to child. So you can see again match path is coming here, and we can give a name to this subject area child customer. And select all the columns. So after selecting the columns, again we have two row ID objects which will be yes. So again we have to click on edit layout and make them as no. Okay, so now both are created. So similarly, you will have to create for all the base objects. And now basically I cannot go beyond this. Means I cannot add a grandchild because I don't have that relationship. Means match path is not configured for this grandchild relationship. So if I go and try to add it, like yesterday we tried, it will give an error that there is no match path present. So that's the only thing you have to remember, that if you have to configure child and grandchild, you should have match path defined. So that's the double advantage of the match path. One is in the MDM side that we can use it for matching purpose, means use columns from other table for matching purpose, and in the IDD side we can add the child and the grandchild basically. This thing, and one more thing that we discussed, that once you have done any configuration changes, just save it before going to any other place, otherwise all the changes will get lost. So here we can do a validate to check that what are the errors we have in this configuration. So here you can see first column C address row ID object in the layout SA address cannot be a required field. So we had modified it, but somehow it got changed again. The row ID object has been made as yes again. So we will go back to the address. And here you can see the row ID object is again yes. So sometimes whenever we are making these changes to the column level, it always becomes like yes. So now we have saved it. Now we'll go to the application. So this application is validated, means we have validated the application. If we have not validated, we cannot deploy it. So validation should be there. If there is any error, that is fine, but it has to be validated. So that is the first step. So once you have created this application, you need to validate it. And once it is validated, then we can go to this application state, which will come as like these options: full deployment, limited deployment, and not deployed. So as of now it is not deployed. You can see there is a cross mark at the end, so we cannot log in into this application. So if we want to enable this, we have to use this full deployment. So the basic difference between full deployment and limited deployment is, full deployment, if you do, anyone will be able to access this URL with their username and password. But limited deployment we can do when I want that only an admin user should log in and do some changes or some testing. So for example, like there is some issue and you want to debug that. So if a lot of people are logged in and they are making some changes, it will be a problem, because basically in the log keeps updating. So that you don't want. You want that whatever changes you are doing, you want to go and see the log, what log is getting generated. So just for that reason, you can make this as a limited deployment. So only an admin user will be able to log in to the application screen. Non-admin users will not be able to log in, and usually all the users are non-admin. So you can log in to the system application, you can do some testing, you can check the logs, and once you are fine, you can come back and make again it as full deployment. So we'll do a full deployment here. So now this application is deployed and the tick mark is coming here, means this application is deployed now. So now if we have seen these two options like validate and check like what are the errors, and then application state, which is now like you can see full deployment is disabled now. We have limited deployment and not deployed, which are options available now. So from next time, like I have made some changes here and I have deployed the application. Next time, if you go and make some changes, like you add a new subject area group or subject area, or you make any changes to this application, so next time we can just use this redeploy option. So these two options are there, clear cache and redeploy. Clear cache is basically used to clear the IDD cache on the server, and redeploy is basically used to redeploy the changes that you have done onto the server. So usually we use this clear cache and then redeploy, because sometime it might happen that you did a redeploy but the cache on the server is not getting updated. So in that case we can just first clear it, use this clear cache option so that it clears the IDD cache on the server, and then redeploy so that it will rebuild the cache. So in that case, whatever configuration changes we have done, that will get reflected. Usually it gets reflected, but sometimes because of some cache issue, it doesn't get reflected. So that's why we can just first do a clear cache and then redeploy the application. And next is like we'll do an export of this application. So now like in the MDM we have done the export and import. So export was basically a change list file. In IDD it's different. In IDD it's a zip file. In the zip file it will have couple of files. So we'll see that. We'll first export this application. So you can see these are the files which are present here. So this is the important file here, bddconfig.xml. This basically contains all the configuration changes that we are doing in the OR, in that particular ORS. So whatever subject area group or cleanse, everything we have done is present in this file. So here if you open this, we can see the subject area group name. Basically subject area group name is like SAG customer, and the table name is C_customer1. Similarly the subject area name, what is the subtype qualifier we have used? Subtype qualifier we have used as this column, C customer1 BO class code, and we have used this cleanse function with input and output parameters, and then all the columns here, whatever columns we have used. So whatever configuration changes we have done, everything will get reflected here. And similarly this one, we have used a rule set, so the match rules is also coming here. So this is the main file, bddconfig.xml, which will contain all your changes. The other file is bdd bundle.properties. So this file, sometimes we need to change this file. If you come to this file, the main thing that we have to consider here is this part, where the display names are present for the subject area group, subject areas. You can see like subject area group SAG customer, and the display name is also SAG customer only. Then subject area customer name is subject area customer, because I have given the same names. Name and the display name both are same. So now for suppose like you want that I want a different name. I don't want subject area customer as a display name. I just want customer. So we have an option, we can go to the IDD screen and we can change it. But sometimes it happens that first we'll try there only. We'll go to the IDD application. We'll try to change the subject area name, display name basically. But sometimes it is not able to update it. Means in the IDD it will show that it is updated, but it is not able to update these files sometimes. So because of which, if you go to the application screen, you will still see SA customer. You will not see customer. So in those cases, if you want to change the display name of any subject area group, subject area or subject area child, grandchild, and you have gone and changed into the UI, means the configuration, and it is not getting reflected, then in that case I will come here to this file. I will make the changes. For example, I am just changing SA customer to customer, and then I will import this file back again. So we'll see later like how to import it. As of now, we are just saving it here. Only for that change you will come to this file and make a change. So that's basically the BDD bundle.properties. And similarly we have the metadata bundle.properties. Metadata bundle.properties will contain all the column basically, columns and the display name. So this is again for the display name purpose. So if you open this, you can see like all the columns will be there and the display names are there. So for example, like we say that, for example, full name. Here I have customer full name column. So full name display is coming as full name itself. This is fine because this is coming from the base object. In my base object, I have given the display name for full name as full name. That is why it is coming. But in the IDD application, suppose you want to change it. You don't want full name. You want say that instead of full name, I want customer name to be present here. But I don't want to touch MDM. In MDM, let it be full name. But in IDD, I want a customer name to be here. So this change, I cannot do it from the UI layer. In the UI, it doesn't give me an option. In the configuration screen, I can just select a column or I can remove a column, but I cannot change the display name of a particular column. So here we can set it, you select this full name, and I will just and instead of full name, we can put customer name. So it was there at 4 places, all the 4 occurrences got replaced. So this file is used for that purpose, to change the display name token. So that's the metadata bundle.properties. The next is like error code bundle.properties. Error code bundle.properties is having like all the errors, warnings, exception messages that are used by the IDD application. So this is like a lot of error messages, error exceptions which are present, and this is used internally by the IDD. So sometimes we might need to make changes in this error code bundle.properties. So why we have to change here in the error code bundle.properties is, suppose you are writing a custom code. So that's basically, I'm talking about the user exits. So you are writing a user exit, and if from the user exit you are doing some basic check, like for example, you are checking if the first name has been populated or not. So there you can say that if first name is null, I want to throw a error message to the user that first name cannot be null. So if you want to throw some custom messages from the user exit or any Java program, in that case we can use this error code bundle.properties. So for example, I want to throw some error messages, then you can just copy this. For example, this is an error. So copy it, put it in the down, and give some number which is not present. For example, like 2 is not there, so I will just use 2 here, and then error, because I want to display that as an error, and I can say like first name cannot be null. This is the error message that I want to display. So why we have to do it here? Because this is more convenient. In the Java side, 2 options are there. I can check if the first name is null. If the first name is null, I will hard code this error message. I can say first name cannot be null. This message can be hard coded in Java also. But it's better that instead of hard coding, what I will say that anyone who is writing the Java program, I will say that this is the number SIP 50002. So if you want to throw an error message for the first name, you use this number. So the Java developers will be using this number SIP 50002 for throwing this error message. So whenever we try to save the data, at that time it will check for the first name. If first name is coming as null, it will throw this error message. So when this error message is thrown, it will come to this file error code bundle.properties, which will check what is the corresponding value which is present here. So whatever value is present here, this will get reflected in the UI. So the main advantage here is that anytime you want to change this, you can change it. Because if you have hard coded it in Java, that will be a problem, because at a later point of time, sometimes the customer might come and say that this doesn't look good. First name cannot be null, doesn't look good. What you do is like you say that the first name value, for example, I'm just changing it. I'm saying that the first name value cannot be null. So this is a small change which I can do in this file, and I can import it back into the MDM. But if I have to do this same thing in Java, I need to basically go to the search for all the places where they have done this check. I need to change in all the files, compile all the files, generate a jar file, and then upload that into the IDD application again. So that will be a long step. So instead of doing that, this is a better option. So these are the main files which are there in this. So now if you go back to the application, so we have done an export. Now after export, we have an option to import. So in the import option, we have like import IDD configuration, import complete IDD application, or import to existing IDD application. So these are the 3 options which are available. So the first 2 options we use only for the first time. I have to send this to the test environment. So for the first time, if I have to send it to the test environment, what I can do is I can send this zip file completely. Whatever is the zip file, like the zip file name is tk5_ors, I can send this zip file completely. For the first time, we usually send the zip file itself. Or if you don't want to send the zip file, you can just send this bdd_config.xml. That is also sufficient. So using the zip file or just using the bdd_config.xml, I can create a new application. So that's basically the first 2 options, that you can send either the XML file or the complete zip file. So usually we send the complete zip file itself for the first time, but from the next time onwards, we don't use this option. From the next time onwards, we use this option, import to existing IDD application. So import to existing IDD application is done because I already have an application created, and now like from the next time onwards, or the incremental change if you say, we compare like in the development environment, if you have done some changes, I will take an export of both the development environment and the test environment. I will extract both the zip files and compare it using any compare tool like WinMerge or something. And I will compare both the files and see what are the changes, which files are changed and what are the changes in that. And whatever files are changed, I will send only those files to the other environment. That, for example, the bdd config.xml is changed or the bdd bundle is changed. So only I will send these two files. So the test environment can use this option, import to existing IDD application, and they can import it. The other reason, probably you can say, can we use it still? Means I don't want to compare it. I don't want to compare the development and the test environment. I just want to import whatever is in development. I want to promote that into the test. So I want to send the zip file again. So that is fine, like you can send the zip file again, but there is one problem here. Problem, what is the problem? Let me go to the MDM here. In the MDM, we'll go to the roles. See, this is the one which we have just created, tk5_virus. This is my application name. So whenever you create an application, that application will come under the custom resource. So what will happen is, in case, as of now there is no privilege I have given here, so that is fine. I can send the zip file multiple times. So if I send the zip file, what it does, it will ask you that the application is already present. Do you want to replace the existing application? If you say yes, whatever configuration change, means whatever access you have given here, those access will be lost. So that's the only thing. If I have given like access on this, for example, this access is given, and you have sent the zip file completely. So using the zip file, I have replaced my application and recreated it. So the only problem is whatever configuration I have done here, these configuration will get lost. So here, because we have very couple of things, but in the real time it will be like lot of things and lot of like roles will be there. So you will have to go to each and every role and configure it again, which is a problem. So that's why we don't use the zip file for the second time. So we'll always use like whatever files are changed, to the configuration screen and use this import to existing IDD application. So we have changed couple of files, like we have changed this file bundle.properties. Just just save it on this. Okay, so I'll just import these files. So I will import this bdd bundle.properties where we have made this change. I have made this change from SA customer. I have made this as a customer. So this file bdd bundle.properties, when we go back to the IDD screen, in the configuration we have this option bdd configuration, bdd bundle. So we'll select this bdd bundle and browse and select the bdd bundle file. So like this only, whatever files are changed, we will be sending it to the other environment and they will use this import feature and import it. And similarly, the other file that we have to change is metadata bundle dot properties, and again we'll go and select this metadata bundle dot properties. So like this we can make the changes to any file, and again we can use this redeploy option to redeploy the changes. And in case like you want to clear the cache, you can clear the cache, which will say that the cache has been cleared for the selected configuration, and then we can again redeploy it. So these are the things basically which we generally do in the configuration screen. Some more things, some more configuration changes are remaining, which I have to show you, but that we'll see later. So first we'll go to the application side now. So to go to the application side, you can click on this application URL directly, which will take you to the application screen. So this is the application screen. So you can click on that, or otherwise what you can do is you can just put the IP :port number /bdd. See, for the configuration screen we have given /bdd/config. To log into the application screen we have to just give bdd here. That's it. So these are the two URLs basically. One is /bdd, one is /bdd/config. So if you just give bdd, it will take you to the configuration screen. Sorry, application screen. So here we can again use the username password and logging into the application. So once you logging into the application, it will show you that there are some applications which are active. So as of now there are two applications which are active. So I will be using this ORS because we have made configuration changes in TK5_ORS. So this is basically the IDD configuration screen. Sorry, IDD application screen. So first thing that we'll see here is we'll go to the queries, and we need to create some queries so that we can search the data. So once you go to the queries, on the right hand side you can see there is saved queries. So if you click on the saved queries and click on saved query, you will not see anything as of now because we have not created any queries here. So first thing we will do is creating a new query. So how to create a query is you have to click on this drop down and new query. So two types of queries we can create, standard and advanced. So we always use standard query. In the advanced we can create, there we have an option to put and or condition. So that is generally not required. Everywhere we use this standard itself. So we'll click on this standard, and here you will see in the drop down subject area group, subject area. So here see the change has been reflected here. So instead of SA customer, it is just showing customer. So whatever file we have imported, the changes are getting reflected for that. So we'll always select the subject area here. So under the subject area I have customer and I have address. So here it will show me all the columns from customer table and as well as the address table. So we can select some couple of things like first name, last name. So this basically business will tell. So business will tell us that I want to do a search based on what columns. I want to search customer based on, like for example, first name and last name, or I want to search based on like address and city, something like that. So this requirement also basically comes from the business. Business tells us that, see, if I have to go and search for a customer, I can use either first name, last name, or any other columns that he will tell that I can search based on the address, line 1, or city, or zip. So those columns they will tell, and based on those columns I will configure it here, configure and keep it. So what we do is we always log in as an admin user, and based on the business recommendation we will create a query and keep it. So any non-admin user, we don't give any access to create a query. That if he wants to create a query, we don't allow. We will say that whatever queries we have created, just reuse those queries. So these are the columns I have selected here, and in the sort, if you want to do a sorting based on any column, for example like first name, I want to do a sorting based on the first name column, and this we always select case insensitive, because so that a user can enter in any character, small letters or capital letters. And then click on OK. So this will create a query here. Now after the query is created, we need to save this query so that I can use it again at a later time. Otherwise every time we log in into the IDD we have to create a query. So again, how to save a query is, again you need to click on this small drop down, and then you will get an option to save. So here we can put some name like search customer. And now we have two options here. One is public query and second is make this my default query. So public query, if I make this as a public query, then see, as of now I am logged in using an admin user. So if I make this as a public query, anyone who logs in to the IDD application, basically another admin user or a non-admin user, anyone who logs in will be able to see this query, and he can reuse that query. And if I don't select it, it is just like a private query. I can only see this query. And the second is make this my default query. This is the second option. So in case you have created multiple queries, whenever you come and click on these queries, you will always see this query coming up. So these are the two options which we will select for this query. So now because we have saved this query, now if you go to the search option here and then click on saved queries, you can see the query. You can see that one query here. So you can click on this query and click on open. So it will open it up. Similarly, we will create one more query here, and that is for the address table. So we will select address, and under the address we have address as well as customer. So again we have created a query for address, so again we need to save this query. And here we can just make it as a public query, because I don't want it to be my default query, because I have made this for the customer table, that customer query will be my default query. So this query will not make it as a default query. So these two queries are created. Now I can do a search here. If I go to the search saved queries, I can see both the queries present here. So I will click on this search customer and open it, and then do a search. So this is here we can put a wildcard search. We can say like we have name like F%. So this uses wildcard search, so you can put your searches here. So here whatever records we are seeing here, those records are coming from the base object table. So we can open this record, use this open to open this record, and so this on the top, whatever we are seeing is the customer record, and then if you click on this address, if this customer is associated with any address, it will show the address also. So here this customer is associated with 2 address, that is why 2 entries are coming here. So one more thing here to be noticed is, like, if you see, it is coming like a table. So in this table, basically sometimes, for example, you might see that I have 50 columns in my address table and I want all the 50 columns to get displayed. But if you are using a table, it only shows like a columns. So if you want to see all the columns, on the top there is a view, basically switch to form view and switch to table view. 2 views are there. So just click on like switch to form view. So it will come like this. So it will not show both the records now, but at least it will show all the columns here. And if you want to see the next record, you can just click on this arrow button. So it will show you both the records. And this is the relationship which is get loaded from the relationship table. So like this, I can see the data in the IDD screen. And if you want to add something, edit something, you can edit it. Like for example, we can go and edit this customer record. So when we go and edit, you can see here the full name option is there. So full name is coming as read only, because we have made this custom name full name as read only. Plus you can see the display name is coming as customer name. This also change we had made. We had replaced the full name with customer name. So instead of full name, customer name is coming in the IDD basically. And this is a read only column. So now if we make some changes here, we say that we change the middle name, and I am putting like middle name in small letters, and then click on this apply. So you can see when I click on the apply button, what happened here. So the cleanse functions, like we have used the cleanse function in the IDD configuration screen, and that configuration, what it does is it will make the first name, middle name and last name in uppercase, and also it will concat that into the customer name column. So you can see, like if I give anything here, just changing the first name into small letters, so this will go into capital letters, and also it will get appended here in the customer name. So that is why customer name is read only, because I don't want a user to enter the customer name. That will get inserted automatically using these columns, whatever values we are passing for first name, middle name and last name. And the cleanse functions are applied whenever you click on the apply button. So when we click on this apply, we can see whether the cleanse is getting applied or not. You can see that here first name is changed, and also it is appended to the customer name. And whichever, because we are doing an update here, whichever column is we are updating, it will show this color. This means that these columns are changed. So once we make this change, we will just click on the save button and save this record. So this save is happening directly at the base object level. Similarly, if you want, you can edit the address record. You can, for example, this customer is associated with 2 addresses. If you want to edit the custom address record, you can directly edit the address. So I can come to this address and I can change here like city, from city 1 to city 1 2. So this is possible because I have configured address as a part of. That is the reason I am able to edit it. I can edit the address record, I can add a new address record, or I can delete the address record. I can do anything here. Again, we will click on the apply, so it will show that city is changed, and again we can save it. So this is possible because we have selected, when we configure this subject area child as address, we have configured that as a part of. So that is why we are able to see this. So next when we go to this other one, address, we will see that it is not allowing us to edit it. It will be a read only. So here, if you want, you can add this add option is there. I can add a new address. I can add a new address record here. Or if you want to delete it, you can delete this. You can click on this drop down. There you have an option to delete. So this will be a soft delete. You can soft delete a record from IDD. So these are the options available here. And on the top, if you see, there is an open hierarchy button will come. So in MDM we have seen the hierarchy. Similarly, we can see the hierarchy here itself in the IDD also. So you can see the similar structure is coming there here also. So the same thing was coming in when we have configured this HM in MDM and we went to hierarchy manager, we had seen the same options. So these things are coming, and if you want to have more details, I can click on this customer, then I will get these actions. And under actions, I have these many options. View details. If I want to view the details of this, I can click on this details, or I can fetch multiple hops. So as we discussed, fetch one hop will fetch only the immediate relationship. Fetch many hops will fetch all the relationship. So this is having only these two relationships. Similarly, I can click on this address and click on the details. So it is showing only one column here, address line 1. And if I click on more details, it will show me, open up the address and show me the details here. So like this, I can see other details about these addresses. So that's basically an entity view, like how the entity view looks there. And similarly, if you go to the history xref table, I can see the xref here. So as of now, like only one xref is there, and that is from the admin system, because all the records are loaded from the admin system itself. If there are multiple systems, it will show us that a particular record is from CRM system or sales system. And if you merge it, it will show the differences, that these two records are merged. So which value from which system has been promoted into the master record. So that can be easily seen here depending on the colors. And then we have the history view. In case we have enabled the history, this history will come up here. So for history is not coming up here because probably history is not enabled. And matches, in case this record is having any matches, it will show potential matches. So as of now, there is no potential match, so that's why it is not showing any record data here. Okay, so we'll continue to this tomorrow. A lot of things are remaining here, like creating new records and like matching the records, merging the records here in the IDD application screen. Then we also have to discuss about the task part, like how the task works here, and that is basically the active viewers. So there is also a document for active viewers, the shared path. So if you get time, just go through that document also, ActiveOS, how to configure the ActiveOS in MDM. So I will be telling you all the steps how to configure it, but if you get time, just go through it. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, so we'll end today's session and continue tomorrow with IDD. Thanks everyone.